Are you noticing that your fibromyalgia is worse this year than it was in previous years? That the bad days are more frequent, the pain seems more intense, the fatigue runs deeper, and even the strategies that used to work don't seem to make a difference anymore? If you're feeling this way, I need to tell you something very important. You're not imagining it, you're not being dramatic, and you're definitely not alone. There's something happening in 2025 that's making life significantly harder for women with fibromyalgia, and if nobody's talking about this clearly and honestly, I'm going to. Because you deserve to understand what's happening to your body, and more importantly, you deserve to know that there are ways to reverse this decline and regain control over your quality of life. If this resonates with you, if you're also living this reality of feeling like your fibromyalgia is spiraling out of control, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the Chronically Stronger channel, and share this content with someone who also deserves to understand what's happening and how they can change this situation. What I'm going to share with you today isn't theory, it's not assumptions or guesswork. These are observations based on data we're seeing happen in real time, combined with decades of research on fibromyalgia and chronic pain. And I need to start by being brutally honest with you. The world of 2025 is creating a perfect environment for fibromyalgia to get worse. It's not your fault. It's not lack of willpower. It's not because you're not trying hard enough. It's because we're living through a perfect storm of factors that directly attack the systems in your body that are already compromised by fibromyalgia. First, let's talk about something everyone knows, but nobody connects to fibromyalgia: the collective stress we're all living under. I'm not just talking about your personal stress. I'm talking about the stress that's in the air. We breathe in the news, we consume in the economic uncertainty, hanging over our heads in the constant social pressure we feel every single day. This collective stress doesn't just stay in your mind. It settles into your nervous system and creates a state of chronic hypervigilance that is pure fuel for fibromyalgia. Your nervous system, which already processes pain in an amplified way, is now being bombarded 24 hours a day with danger signals coming from every direction. It's like trying to rest in a house where the alarm never stops going off. But it doesn't stop there. There's something that's happened in recent years that has drastically changed how our bodies function. And it's having a devastating impact specifically on women with fibromyalgia. I'm talking about our relationship with technology and how it's literally rewiring our nervous systems. How many hours a day do you spend looking at screens? How many times a day do you pick up your phone? How many notifications do you get that make your heart race, even if it's just for half a second? Every time you pick up your phone and see a notification, your nervous system has a micro-stress response. Every time you scroll through social media and see content that makes you anxious, irritated, or worried, your nervous system registers that as a threat. And when this happens hundreds of times a day, every day, your nervous system enters a state of exhaustion that manifests as intensified pain, worsening fatigue, increased sensitivity, and deteriorating sleep. A study published in 2024 by the University of Michigan showed that women with fibromyalgia who had more than 6 hours of screen time per day had pain levels 40% higher than those with less than 3 hours. 40%? That's not insignificant. And before you think it's just a matter of using your phone less, let me explain why this is much more complex than it appears. The problem isn't just the time you spend on screens, it's the type of content you consume and how it affects your brain chemistry. Social media platforms were designed to keep you engaged through dopamine spikes, followed by sharp drops. This chemical roller coaster in your brain directly interferes with the production of serotonin and other neurotransmitters that regulate pain. When these neurotransmitters are dysregulated, your fibromyalgia gets worse. This is science, not opinion. Now, let's talk about another factor that's making 2025 particularly difficult for women with fibromyalgia. Sleep quality is plummeting across the board, and this is creating a devastating domino effect. You've probably already noticed that your sleep isn't the same as it was a few years ago. Maybe you take longer to fall asleep, wake up more times during the night, or wake up feeling more tired than when you went to bed. And there's a very specific reason for this that goes beyond your individual fibromyalgia. Blue light from screens, combined with constant stress, is destroying our natural circadian rhythms. Your body can no longer distinguish when it's time to be alert and when it's time to rest. For a woman with fibromyalgia, this is catastrophic because sleep is literally the time when your body should be repairing itself, processing pain more efficiently, and recharging the systems that help you deal with the challenges of the next day. When this process is interrupted night after night, your fibromyalgia has no choice but to get worse. It's like trying to heal a wound that never stops bleeding. A 2024 study from the Mayo Clinic demonstrated that women with fibromyalgia who slept less than 6 hours per night or had fragmented sleep showed a 60% increase in levels of substance P, a neurotransmitter directly related to pain perception. 60%. And here's what worries me most. Most women with fibromyalgia don't even realize that their sleep is being sabotaged by external factors that can be controlled. There's one more thing happening in 2025 that's specifically affecting women with fibromyalgia, and it has to do with how our society is handling mental health and social support. Social isolation has increased dramatically in recent years, and for a woman with an invisible condition like fibromyalgia, this means less understanding, less support, and more pressure to appear normal all the time. You spend enormous energy trying to hide your pain, trying to function as if nothing is happening, trying not to bother anyone with your limitations. This constant pressure to mask what you're feeling creates a type of toxic stress that directly feeds fibromyalgia. It's like you're fighting two wars at the same time, one against pain and another against the world's judgment. And your body can't sustain these two battles indefinitely. The truth is that 2025 is turning out to be the year when all these factors came together in a perfect storm. Increased collective stress, hyperexposure to technology, degraded sleep quality, social isolation, and pressure to perform normalcy. For a woman with fibromyalgia, it's as if all the ideal conditions for the condition to worsen have aligned at once. But here's what I want you to understand. And this is fundamental. Recognizing these factors isn't about feeling hopeless or victimized. It's about reclaiming power over your situation. Because when you understand exactly what's causing the deterioration, you can do something about it. And there's a lot you can do. The first thing, and perhaps the most transformative, is creating what I call safety bubbles for your nervous system. This means establishing moments in your day when you consciously remove all stimuli that might be feeding the state of hypervigilance. I'm not talking about complex meditation or difficult techniques. I'm talking about 10 minutes in the morning when you don't pick up your phone, don't consume news, don't expose yourself to anything that might trigger a stress response. 10 minutes when you allow your nervous system to remember what it feels like to feel safe. It could be taking a warm bath, it could be looking out the window, it could be simply breathing consciously. The important thing is creating this sacred space where your nervous system can begin to downregulate from the constant state of alert. A Stanford University study showed that women with fibromyalgia who practiced just 10 minutes daily of these safety bubbles showed significant pain reduction in just 3 weeks. The second strategy is what I call digital hygiene for fibromyalgia. This doesn't mean abandoning technology, it means using it in a way that works for you, not against you. It starts with a simple rule: no screens in the 2 hours before bed and the first hour after waking up. Your brain needs these windows free from digital stimulation to be able to produce melatonin adequately at night and cortisol in the right amount in the morning. When these hormones are regulated, your pain perception naturally decreases. Additionally, during the day, for every hour you use digital devices, take a 5-minute break looking at something distant, preferably through a window. This helps reset your nervous system and prevents it from entering that state of accumulated tension that intensifies fibromyalgia. It sounds simple, but the difference this makes is profound. Women who implement this digital hygiene report improvements in sleep quality in less than a week and reduction in pain intensity within 2 weeks. The third strategy involves rebuilding your support network in a way that actually works for you. This doesn't necessarily mean going out and socializing more. If that's difficult for you, it means finding authentic forms of connection that don't drain your energy but restore it. It could be joining online groups of women with fibromyalgia where you can be completely honest about what you're feeling. It could be establishing a weekly conversation routine with a friend who really understands your condition. It could even be developing a deeper relationship with yourself through journaling or other self-awareness practices. The important thing is breaking the cycle of isolation and pretense that so feeds the worsening of fibromyalgia. When you have safe spaces to be authentic about your pain, your nervous system doesn't have to spend energy hiding what's happening, and that energy can be redirected toward healing. The fourth strategy is perhaps the most powerful: learning to work with your body's natural rhythms instead of fighting against them. In 2025, there's enormous pressure for constant productivity, to always be on, always available, always performing. For a woman with fibromyalgia, this pressure is toxic. Your body has good days and bad days, moments of more energy and moments of less energy, and this isn't a character flaw, it's biological reality. When you learn to honor these rhythms instead of fighting against them, something magical happens. You stop wasting energy on internal battles and start using your energy more efficiently. This means planning more demanding activities for times when you typically feel better. It means giving yourself permission to rest on bad days without guilt. It means understanding that your productivity doesn't need to be linear to be valuable. Women who make this perspective shift often discover they can do more with less effort because they're working with their body, not against it. There's a fifth strategy that's specifically important for 2025, developing what I call resistance to toxic information. We live in an era where we're constantly bombarded with health information, much of it contradictory, much of it creating more anxiety than help. For a woman with fibromyalgia, this information overload can create a state of confusion and anxiety that directly worsens symptoms. Resistance to toxic information means learning to filter what you consume about health and fibromyalgia. It means choosing one or two reliable sources and stopping the constant search for new theories, new treatments, new explanations. Not because you should stop informing yourself, but because the constant, anxious search for answers can become another stressor that feeds your condition. When you develop this resistance, you free up mental and emotional space to actually implement strategies that work, instead of being constantly distracted by new possibilities. The last strategy I want to share with you is about creating what I call microscopic victory moments. Namo. In 2025, with fibromyalgia possibly worse than in previous years, it's easy to feel like you're not making progress, like nothing is working. But the truth is that fibromyalgia healing happens in very small increments, in improvements that can be almost imperceptible day to day, but that accumulate over time. Microscopic victory moments are about celebrating these small improvements. A night when you slept 20 minutes longer, a day when the pain was a little less intense, a moment when you were able to do something that last week seemed impossible. When you train your mind to notice and celebrate these small victories, you begin to rewire your brain to focus on what's improving instead of what's still difficult. And this, by itself, has a therapeutic effect on fibromyalgia. Studies show that women who practice recognizing microscopic victories show measurable improvements in pain levels and quality of life within 6 weeks. I want you to understand something very important. Your fibromyalgia being worse in 2025 is not a permanent verdict on your life. It's not a sentence that things will only get worse from here. It's a reflection of specific circumstances that can be modified. When you understand the factors contributing to the deterioration and implement specific strategies to deal with them, you regain control over your quality of life. I'm not promising it will be easy. I'm not promising it will be quick, but I'm promising it's possible. You don't have to accept that 2025 will be the year your fibromyalgia won. It can be the year you learn to work more intelligently with your condition, the year you discovered strategies that really work for you, the year you stopped fighting against your body and started working in partnership with it. Your journey with fibromyalgia doesn't have to be a straight downward line. It can be an upward curve of learning, adaptation, and gradual improvement. And that starts now, with the next step you choose to take. If this content helped you understand what might be happening with your fibromyalgia in 2025 and how you can start reversing this situation, like the video, subscribe to the Chronically Stronger channel, and share it with someone who's in this fight too. And don't forget to download the free ebook that's here in the description, where I go deeper into these strategies with a step-by-step plan you can start implementing today. Also, check out the natural supplement that can help with your relief and has helped thousands of women regain control over their lives. The journey begins with one step, and that step is now.